America's most hail-beaten mall has a store open. Kind of. Perhaps you heard Denver banned the 420 pot rally. Except it didn't. And we ask for the naked truth on just what they'd allow in that park. Reopening a path to Estes Park. Go and take your dollars. You might just see ridiculously happy elk. Next. Congratulations, everyone. Not like we get a ribbon or a medal or anything, but we have all made it through the most expensive hailstorm in Colorado history. It's official today. $1.4 billion in damage, according to the insurance folks who track such things and adjust the numbers for inflation. That makes the hailstorm 2 weeks ago more expensive than the $1.1 billion storm in July of 1990. That day, it was like Colorado Mills Mall had a Target on it. It has a Target in it, and that store reopened almost right away. And by reopened, we mean it's practically deserted, half-lit, water dripping from the ceiling, and portions of the store are blocked off. Thousands of people are out of work at the mall while it's closed with no reopening date. The mall's owner continues to stonewall real answers about what's happening there, but we found the city of Lakewood more helpful. Target's tough. The Super Target at Colorado Mills only closed for 8 hours after the hailstorm on May 8th. Apparently, you don't need ceiling tiles, lights, or full access to the store to stay open.
Ceiling tiles aren't considered a critical issue in food safety.
Jefferson County Public Health inspects the grocery side for food safety. We wanted to know how fresh fruits and veggies are safe in a store with leaks and tarps and the distinct smell of a flooded basement.
We had staff in there as late as this afternoon, and they indicated to us that the facilities are all in good condition, where they're producing food have been cleaned, have been disinfected, temperature control is good.
The outside of the mall looks like a FEMA disaster response. But those stores that you can see from the outside, they're the lucky ones.
Stores that have an exterior entrance, as those get cleaned up and are fully restored, they're going to open as ready.
At last night's city council meeting, Lakewood city manager did what the mall's property manager doesn't want to do. Simply tell everyone what's happening.
The good news is the temporary roof is on. I talk to the general manager about almost every day to get updates.
She also revealed the existence of a website, coloradomillsemployees.com. It includes links to job openings for the 3,000 mall employees who need new work. It also has a section called Memos, which takes you to this letter to tenants saying that the mall isn't going to reopen before November. Perhaps you remember last week when the mall's owner refused to confirm to us whether this letter was legit.
They had said they would open in November. Now they're saying they're going to open just as soon as they can, as soon as it's safe.
That website for employees, which we'll link to in the story in the next section of 9news.com, has some really good resources for employees who are looking for temporary work over the next couple of months, right down to a guy who owns a couple local sub shops who says he'll hire them. Denver is lessening the punishment for low-level crimes that frequently involve the homeless. Lying in the public right-of-way, urinating in public, panhandling. City Council and Mayor Hancock are unanimous that those crimes should not result in more than 60 days in jail. And the mayor says the reclassification means that nonviolent crimes won't be used as a deportation tool. This is the part of the story where his critics shout that Denver is a sanctuary city. And without a legal definition, it is if you say it is. Denver's crackdown on the 420 rally does not mean the end of massive pot parties in the park. All the city did was block the former organizer from being in charge for the next 3 years. Denver Parks and Rec told me today it hasn't made any changes that would be a roadblock to future cannabis rallies in the park. For all the city's outrage over the park being trashed this year, for all the mayor's concern, chances are there's going to be another 420 rally next year. The permitting process opens up in November. Parks and Rec told me today it can't discriminate in event permits based on the content of the event. And they said that the city believes that it also cannot deny a permit based on the likelihood of illegal behavior at the event. They noted that the 420 rally organizers discourage illegal consumption of cannabis. Anybody with eyes or a nose can see how that went. I asked the city just how far they would let this go. Pardon the direct language, but I asked, would the city of Denver allow Civic Center Park to host a massive orgy? Like smoking cannabis, it's legal inside your house and it's illegal in a public park. Let me just say, bless the poor Parks and Rec spokeswoman who had to walk through this scenario with me on the phone today. But she said that if someone wanted to organize a celebration of free love culture in the park and discouraged overtly illegal acts, as the 420 organizers supposedly do, then she didn't think that the city could stop it. So if you're discouraged by the sight of next year's 420 rally, just bear in mind, it could be an orgy instead. Coming up in a bit, we're going to hear from an unlikely opponent of the 420 party in the park, how a Christian university in the suburbs played a prominent role in the controversy, and their leader will tell me how that squares with Colorado's traditionally more libertarian idea of what it means to be a conservative. You know, we should look back a year from now, 2, 3, and see whether the construction defects bill signed into law by the governor today really does result in more condos being built. The law protects builders from lawsuits, makes it so a majority of condo owners in a building, not just a majority in the HOA, is needed to sue. Condos are less than 3% of the new housing coming onto the market right now. They've been looking for a fix for years, so we'll check back in a couple. Highway 34 is Estes Park's lifeline, funneling tourists up to that beautiful spot in Colorado each summer and fall to spend dollars and keep that town vital. 34 reopened today. If you drive it, you will see construction along with the beautiful scenery. Our Jessica O takes a look.
This is where the road's going to be up to our right.
The most scenic drive to Estes Park isn't fully picturesque.
So this was a very problematic site.
It's been nearly 4 years since historic flooding wiped out chunks of US 34. The damage hasn't been easy to repair.
On September 11th, 2013, that changed my life.
Johnny Olson was CDOT's incident commander. Now he's in charge of restoring the highway, where the road may be finished, but the efforts to keep the drive safe are far from over.
This road wasn't built to standards. It wasn't built to any protection.
So the changes you'll see when 34 reopens Thursday are a part of CDOT's lasting solution.
Hey, what can we build today that the 76 flood and the 2013 flood, that if we had that again, that we can make sure that we have some access in this canyon?
Crews reshaped the river, covered the rocks on the side of the highway, and blasted boulders to make space for emergency vehicles.
And the rock slope was about right here where we're standing.
Crews are also building a brand new bridge over the canyon.
We've evaluated 30 or 40 different options that we can do in the canyon.
US 34 will reopen, but it's only going to be for the summer. In October, it shuts down again. Residents and commuters haven't been happy about that.
I think it's hard for people to say, hey, why are you doing this? The road was open. We know that construction impacts people, but we want to minimize those stresses.
Construction may not be over, but CDOT says drivers can rest assured their scenic drive will be safer now, and these changes will last.
But we're leaving something behind for the future.
For Next, I'm Jessica O.
So that repair project is halfway done. CDOT hopes to have it completed by the end of next year. The repairs to 22 miles of the highway were funded out of federal tax dollars. Every time there's a terror attack, we hear from viewers asking us why Muslim leaders don't condemn terrorism. So I'm just going to read directly from the statement from the Colorado Muslim Society today. The headline says, Colorado Muslim Society condemns yesterday's attack in Manchester. It continues, we wholeheartedly stand against violence and any act of terror against innocent civilians. These actions have no place in Islam. So next time you hear somebody say that Muslim leaders don't condemn terror attacks, please take the opportunity to correct them. May I make a recommendation to prepare you for the next time news breaks? Read On the Media's Breaking News Consumers Handbook. On the Media is a radio show and a very good podcast from the public radio station in New York City. They offer some common sense suggestions on how to sort through the deluge that is breaking news these days. Beware of quick retweeting and anonymous sources. Compare multiple news sources. Look for news outlets that have a close particular connection to an incident. On the Media has several versions for types of breaking news. They have a handbook for protest news, military news, celebrity news. They also have a handy printable PDF version that you might want to stick up around your office or mail to your uncle. There's some links in the next section on 9news.com. Yet another delay for the people who paid good money to set a lantern on fire and send it into the Colorado night sky. The metro area has two competing sky lantern events, the Lights Fest and the Lantern Fest. Neither one can seem to keep a date on the calendar. The Lights Fest in Byers has had 2 postponements this month due to fire danger. The Lantern Fest still hasn't rescheduled its Dacono show, nor has it offered any refunds. Who knows, these events may still happen, but as we've already reported here, it's a race against time because fire departments are updating their fire codes, which will make sky lanterns illegal unless they're tied to the ground, which seems less than thrilling.
I wouldn't even fathom to guess how many there are.
Look down and you'll see Denver's trampled stamps tattooed on sidewalks across the city. A Christian leader explains his calling to fight marijuana.
This might take us a generation, but we're going to continue to fight the good fight.
And look, over there, it's a puddle. Next. The most Colorado thing we saw today is the happiest elk in all of the land. Jumping in puddles, hopping, skipping around in the grass near Evergreen Golf Course. Colorado Parks and Wildlife posted the video today. An elk living his best life. That is pure joy. And if you are not smiling right now, you need to get your wires checked. That is the most Colorado thing we've seen today.
So much water to play in. Everything is so green. It is our wettest month on average, and so far we're about an inch above average in terms of precipitation, something we haven't been able to say for quite some time. I'm meteorologist Kathy Saban. I hope you're enjoying this beautiful day, a cooler day, a cool northerly breeze out there, but a quiet weather day. And this time of year, that is saying something. Temperatures are going to warm. Tomorrow is the warmest day of the week, the driest, with high pressure right over the top of us. Very little in the way of cloud cover or thunderstorms. And so, with winds shifting from the north to the west-southwest, that means highs near 80 ahead of the next storm and the next round of thunderstorms, and that'll be Thursday into Friday. Tonight, calm and quiet. A few high clouds out there and a beautiful evening with lows way above freezing for a change. Tomorrow, a big jump in temperature. 80 will be your high. That's above average by about 10 degrees. We cool it off a little bit for Thursday and Friday, bringing a 40% chance of rain heading into the holiday weekend. Isolated storms heading into Sunday. Monday looks to be the warmest and driest day, and it has just been so beautiful in Fort Collins tonight, getting ready to watch the sunset there, and good travel weather in and out of the high country. Kyle.
Kathy, thanks. Denver Mayor Michael Hancock had 4,000 signatures of 4,000 upset Coloradans to consider as he weighed whether to punish the organizers of the 420 pot rally that trashed Civic Center Park. Those signatures were gathered by the Centennial Institute at Colorado Christian University in Lakewood. The head of the Centennial Institute, Jeff Hunt, joined me to explain how marijuana became their issue. You guys delivered a boatload of signatures in opposition to the 420 rally, 4,000 or so. With all due respect, what were you guys doing at City Hall dropping off signatures on this issue? I mean, you're a think tank at a Christian university in the suburbs.
Yeah, well, it follows in line with the pattern of Colorado Christian University to oppose recreational marijuana. We did so in Lakewood. We think that this is a damaging drug for the public, and so we wanted to have a strong voice on this. But I actually went down to the 420 rally. I walked around there, and while initially I was heartbroken to see so much marijuana smoked in the presence of children and infants, it wasn't until the next day that we decided that we needed to organize a petition on this. When we saw the trash left on a National Historic Landmark all over there, we decided that we needed to engage and have our voice heard. And we're proud that the mayor decided to hear us and put the priorities of the citizens of Denver first.
Are you aiming for the Centennial Institute to have more of a vocal, muscular presence on the scene when we talk about social issues around the state and political issues?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We believe passionately in the social issues, traditional family values, sanctity of life, but also restricting recreational marijuana.
A lot of Colorado's conservatives are of the libertarian bent, and probably would say, why don't you pick a different fight than this one? Why pick this fight?
Colorado is very libertarian, and in fact, when our libertarian friends team up with the progressive left, us social conservatives are kind of left out into the wilderness. Happened on doctor-assisted suicide, but it doesn't change our position. We're people that have strong principles, and we're going to fight on those principles, and it's our mission to change cultural attitudes. We recognize that we have a generational fight ahead of us.
Jeff Hunt from the Centennial Institute at Colorado Christian University. Thank you so much for your time. Stop back anytime.
You got it. Thanks for having me.
It's Denver history beneath our feet. We spent the day walking around looking down so you don't have to. The connection between Congressman Scott Tipton and Kendrick Lamar, naturally. And a baby boom of Colorado-themed announcements. Next. Our next question is coming from inside the house. It's not scary at all. It's just next executive producer Linda Kay, who wondered about the story behind Denver's sidewalk stamps. Photojournalist Mike Grady is walking the city today with a woman who knows all about them.
I love going for walks, and I would look down while I was walking and discover these interesting stamps. There's one right here that's It says monolith cement. My name is Jennifer Capetto, and I'm the supervisor of the Landmark Preservation Program for the City and County of Denver. So sidewalk stamps are the calling card for the contractor who laid the concrete. These stamps would be business cards for the concrete company. This was a way for them to show off their work. Oh, there's one right here. It's a great way to tell the history of the city through the sidewalk stamps and through the development of Denver. So this is the Metlo. It used to be the 11th Avenue Motel. This concrete stamps here, the sidewalk stamps, were done by Max Miller and Son. But what's really interesting to me is that this is dated 1958, and the Metlo was built in about 1958. So you can sometimes use the sidewalk stamps to actually date the history of the building. Early concrete contractors typically had names that were English, Irish, Scottish. Rogers Concrete, Walt Flanagan Contractors, and then you start to see the Latin American names come in. The contractor was John Martinez and Son, installed in 1988 by Art Vasquez Construction. I think a bunch of them would think that anyone who is interested in this might be a little crazy, but I also think that they might be fascinated that their sidewalks are still intact and still being regularly used.
A painting of Kendrick Lamar is going up at the U.S. Capitol, thanks to Republican Congressman Scott Tipton, because, of course, the painting of the rapper is actually the work of a constituent. Tiona Cardova, a senior at Centennial High School in Pueblo, she won the district art contest. Congressman Tipton posted a photo of the Kendrick Lamar painting on Instagram, leading us to ask two questions. Tipton's on Insta? He is. And he knows who Kendrick Lamar is? His staff says he did not. We asked for the congressman's favorite songs, and they were game. They said Surfin' USA by the Beach Boys and My Girl by Otis Redding. Reminds him of his wife and his daughters. Yesterday's quintessentially Colorado baby announcement on our air led to a baby boom of creative ways to tell the world that there's a new Coloradan on the way. A Broncos-themed announcement. Stephanie Esther says they find out right after the Super Bowl. Allison Ryan used the maroon bells to announce their baby, with hiking shoes naturally. Molly DeLong says nothing like Colorado fall for a big announcement for your family. Michael Lapham looked to Rocky Mountain National Park for a fall announcement, complete with pumpkins. And Kristen Toscano and her family out in Elbert County had a great announcement. My new rider due to arrive January 9, 2017. We're back with a confusing sign about just what exactly you can do with a gun in Jefferson County, and a piece of feedback that made me want to stand and cheer. Next. It's a sign spotted by next viewer Nadine Halls, and it reads, "No shooting, hunting allowed." Okay, so help me here. If you wrestle the deer to the ground with your bare hands, then it's cool? Are throwing knives allowable? The sign's in Jefferson County, Road 126, just south of Buffalo Creek. Yes, we understand it's telling people that you can't target shoot in an area where you are allowed to hunt, but come on, that's good double take. Send us your emails, or your signs rather, that catch your eye. Next at 9news.com. Get our attention with the hashtag HeyNext. Quick correction from Mark Mitchell, who notes that Congressman Scott Tipton's favorite song, My Girl, was actually recorded by the Temptations and not Otis Redding. We're going to put that on the congressman's staff, but listen, all right? It's his choice in music. Corey Richards says, Kyle, usually like your jackets. Not a fan of today's choice. Are you serious, Corey? This could be my favorite jacket. Man, dude, I thought we were tight. All right, in KH emails. While I don't agree with all your guests on the show, glad you give them a chance. Thank you for saying so. That is the entire point of bringing you diverse viewpoints, and we're not going to stop doing that no matter how many people want us to conform to their viewpoint. We'll see you next time.